Throughout life, human beings walk between two opposing currents that are nonetheless intertwined. On one side, the craving to hold on in order to feel safe, on the other, the whisper of letting go in order to find freedom. From a very young age, we are taught that to survive we must cling to success, to reputation, to self-image, to relationships, to memories, even to pain itself. We believe that if we let go, we will lose everything. If we let go, we will dissolve. If we let go, we will no longer be ourselves. Yet there is a profound paradox. The very things we grip most tightly are what exhaust us the most. Imagine the mind as a hand that is always clenched. It clenches the past, unhealed wounds, unresolved regrets, memories that are both sweet and aching. It clenches the future, anxieties, expectations, fears of failure, dreams not yet formed. And in that clenching, we forget the present, we forget that we are still living, still breathing, still feeling each moment as it passes. Letting go, therefore, is not abandoning life. Letting go is not being cold, indifferent, or running away from responsibility. Letting go is not erasing memories or denying what has shaped who we are. Letting go is a far more subtle art, the art of loosening the hand that is clenched. Allowing life to flow through us instead of being imprisoned within us. Many people fear letting go because they confuse the ego with the things attached to the ego. They think they are their job, they are their relationships, they are the praise or criticism of others. They are the stories they tell about themselves. But when things change, when the job is lost, when love departs, when reputation fades, they feel lost, as if they no longer exist. So what, truly, is the self? Is the self the ever-changing stream of thoughts? Is it emotions that rise and fall? Is it the social roles we put on each day? If all of these change, is there anything within us that remains unchanged? In Eastern contemplative traditions, there is a deeply insightful view: our true self is not what we possess, but the space of awareness that witnesses everything we experience. We are not anger, we are the one who sees anger. We are not sadness, we are the vast sky that holds sadness like passing clouds. We are not the stories of the past, we are the stillness that listens to them. Letting go, therefore, does not make us lose ourselves. On the contrary, it brings us back to our deepest self. Imagine a river. If the river tries to cling to the leaves floating on its surface, it will stop flowing, become murky and stagnant. But when the river lets the leaves drift away, it remains what it truly is: clear, deep, alive, and constantly moving. The human mind is the same. When we let go of our attachments, we do not disappear, we become more open, lighter, freer. But letting go is not easy. It requires courage, courage to face impermanence, courage to accept that everything changes. Courage to live without clinging to rigid images of who we think we are. We must learn to love without possessing, to care without controlling, to engage with life without being bound by it. There are times when we must let go of a relationship even while love remains, because it no longer nurtures our growth. There are times when we must let go of an old dream to open the door to a new path. There are times when we must let go of anger so the heart can be free. And there are times when we must let go of the image of the ideal person we strive to become, in order to accept who we truly are, with all our light and all our shadow. Letting go is not a one-time act. It is a long journey, repeated again and again, subtle and quiet. Each day, we are invited to let go a little, to let go of defensiveness, of fear, of judgment, of the need to be right, to be perfect, to be recognized. And in this process, we gradually realize something miraculous: when we release what is unnecessary, our true self finally reveals itself. It is a self not bound by the past, not haunted by the future, not shaken by praise or blame. It is a self that can stand in the midst of a constantly changing life and still maintain inner calm. It is a self that knows how to love deeply without dependence, to care without control, to live fully without attachment. How to let go without losing yourself is not merely a psychological question, it is a spiritual one, an invitation to turn inward. To look directly at the nature of who we are, and to discover that letting go does not make us smaller, but allows us to grow in a very different way. And on this journey, we gradually learn to relax the hand that has been gripping so tightly, so the heart can open, the mind can become still. And life can flow freely through us, like a river that no longer fears any wave. When we begin to look deeply into our own mind, we see that attachment is not a single habit but an entire subtle structure operating within human inner life. It is woven from fear, memory, expectation, ego, and the stories we tell about ourselves. We do not cling to things simply because they exist, we cling to the meaning we assign to them. A person may cling to a relationship not because love is still alive, but because of the fear of loneliness. Another may cling to a job that no longer brings joy, not out of passion, but because they identify themselves with that social position. Someone else may cling to past pain, because they have turned it into their identity, I am someone who was once hurt. In this way, attachment is not only clinging to external objects, but clinging to a self-image built around those objects. In Buddhism, this is seen through the lens of impermanence and non-self. Everything changes, yet we try to hold things fixed. And because we misunderstand the self, we believe that if everything changes, we will disappear. But in truth, change itself is the very nature of living. Imagine standing in the middle of a strong river. If you try to grasp the water tightly in your hands, it will slip away, leaving emptiness and disappointment. But if you open your hands, you can still feel the water flowing through, cool, alive, free. Letting go is like this, it is not losing the experience, but changing the way we relate to it. At a deeper level, letting go begins with awareness. When a strong emotion arises, anger, fear, sadness, we usually react immediately, we suppress it, resist it, or get swept away by it. But the first step of letting go is to pause and look directly at that emotion without judgment. We do not say, I am bad for being angry, nor do we say, I must get rid of this anger right away. We simply see, this is anger that is present. In that moment, a small space appears between us and the emotion. We no longer completely identify with it. And this very space is the seed of freedom. We begin to understand that we are not anger, we are the space of awareness that holds anger. When we practice this repeatedly, we gradually learn something very important, emotions come and go like clouds in the sky. If we cling to them, the sky becomes obscured. If we let them go, the sky remains intact, vast and clear. Letting go is also deeply related to how we view memory. The past does not exist only as events that happened, it lives vividly in our mind as stories repeated again and again. We tell stories of wounds, failures, injustices, and gradually turn them into part of our identity. But each time we retell them, we recreate that pain. Letting go of the past does not mean denying what happened. It means no longer carrying it as a burden on our shoulders. We can look back on the past with understanding instead of resentment, with compassion instead of blame. When we do this, the past no longer binds us, it becomes a lesson, not a prison. Conversely, we must also learn to let go of the future, anxieties, expectations, and illusions that everything must unfold exactly according to our wishes. The mind often lives in an unrealized script, fearing what has not yet arrived or clinging to perfect scenarios. But the more we try to control the future, the further we drift from the present. Letting go of the future is returning to the present moment, the in-breath, the out-breath, the heartbeat, sensations in the body, the light in the sky, the sounds around us. When we are truly present, we realize that most of our suffering does not come from the current situation, but from the mind running into the past and the future. Another important aspect of letting go is letting go of the need to control others. We often think that loving means controlling, caring means managing, protecting means dominating. But true love does not bind, it allows others to be who they are. When we release the need to control, relationships become lighter, more authentic, and less painful. However, letting go does not mean passivity or indifference. This is a common misunderstanding. Letting go is not withdrawing from life or caring about nothing. On the contrary, letting go allows us to participate in life more fully, because we are no longer clouded by fear and attachment. A person who knows how to let go can still act with strength, decisiveness, and responsibility. But their actions arise from clarity rather than blind reaction. They can love deeply without dependence, care without control, and contribute without seeking recognition. At the deepest level, letting go brings us back to our true nature, a space of awareness that is vast and still. As we gradually release layers of attachment, we begin to sense an inner depth that was previously hidden. It is a sense of peace that does not depend on circumstances, a freedom that does not come from possession, but from no longer being bound. We realize that we are still ourselves, perhaps even more clearly, when external things change. We do not lose ourselves by letting go, we only lose the illusions about ourselves. And little by little, the journey of letting go becomes a journey home, returning to simplicity, to the natural rhythm of the breath, to an open heart, to a clear mind. We no longer live as someone who must always be on guard, but as someone who can stand firmly in the flow of life while remaining peaceful within. That is the art of letting go without losing yourself. When we begin to practice letting go with mindfulness, the first thing we realize is not loss, but a spaciousness we have never known in our inner life. Before, our mind was always crowded, filled with thoughts about what must be held onto, controlled, protected, proven. But when we loosen attachment, a space appears, and within that space arises a natural sense of peace. The greatest benefit of letting go is lightness of the soul. We no longer carry on our shoulders the invisible burdens of the past, the anxieties about the future, or the pressure to become someone other than who we truly are. Life still has challenges, but we face them from a different inner posture, not with panic, not with despair, not by shrinking into defense. We stand more firmly because we are no longer dependent on things that are, by nature, impermanent. Letting go also helps us see ourselves more clearly. When we are attached, we often confuse our true self with the roles we play. We think we are our title, our success, our social image, the praise or criticism of others. But when we let go, we gradually separate ourselves from these outer layers and come into direct contact with the inner core, where there is authenticity, simplicity, and freedom. Another profound benefit is the ability to love more fully. When there is attachment, love easily turns into possession, control, or fear of loss. We love, but we are tense, anxious, always holding on tightly. But when we know how to let go, love becomes more open and more compassionate. We love without binding, care without imposing, cherish without owning. It is this freedom that makes love deeper and more enduring. Letting go also heals many inner wounds. Most of our pain does not come from external events, but from the way we cling to them. When we learn to look at pain without identifying with it, we allow healing to happen naturally. We are no longer defined by the past, we transform it into a lesson rather than a wound that keeps bleeding. On a spiritual level, letting go allows us to live more fully in the present. When we are no longer pulled back and forth between past and future, we can truly feel each unfolding moment, the morning light, the warmth of a cup of tea, the steady rhythm of the breath, the soft sound of wind moving through the leaves. We begin to see beauty in simple things we once overlooked. Letting go also brings clarity to our actions. When the mind is no longer clouded by fear and attachment, we can see more clearly what needs to be done and what does not. We no longer react out of habit or impulsive emotion, instead, we act from awareness and compassion. This not only helps us live better, but also creates a positive impact on those around us. Another subtle benefit is a sense of inner freedom. Freedom is not the ability to do whatever we want, but the freedom from being enslaved by unconscious impulses of the mind. When we let go, we are no longer driven by fear, greed, or anger. we can choose how to live instead of being swept along by circumstances. Letting go also helps us cultivate compassion toward ourselves. Before, we may have been too harsh, constantly blaming, judging, and forcing ourselves to be perfect. But when we let go of the need to be perfect, we learn to accept ourselves with all our flaws and all our beauty. We become gentler with ourselves, and through that, gentler with others as well. At a deeper spiritual level, letting go opens the door to awakening. We begin to realize that our true self does not lie in what we possess or the stories we tell, but in the silent awareness that observes everything. When we touch this depth, we experience a peace that does not depend on circumstances, a sense of well-being more stable than any passing emotion. Letting go also helps us live more harmoniously with the flow of life. Instead of resisting change, we learn to accept and adapt. We no longer fight impermanence, but learn to dance with it. Life becomes a journey of exploration rather than a struggle for survival. And finally, the greatest benefit of letting go without losing ourselves is this: we become more whole. Not whole in the sense of being perfect, but whole in the sense of being authentic. We no longer live to please others or to protect a false image. We live from the heart, with presence, courage, and love. We are still ourselves, but a lighter version, a deeper one, a freer one, and a more loving one. That is the gift that letting go brings, not the disappearance of the self, but a return to the truest self. In the end, when we look back on the entire journey of letting go, we realize that this is not a lesson to be memorized, but a path to be lived fully. Letting go does not arrive as a single dazzling moment of enlightenment after which everything changes forever. It comes slowly, quietly, like small drops of water falling on stone, gradually wearing away the hardened layers of the ego. Each day, we let go a little, letting go of some anger, some fear, the need to be right, the need to defend ourselves, the obsession with the past and the future. And over time, we suddenly realize that we have changed without ever trying to become someone else. We are still ourselves, but lighter. We still love, but without binding. We still care, but without controlling. We still participate in life, but we are no longer drowned by it. We still have ambition, but we are no longer ruled by it. We still feel sadness, but we are no longer defined by sadness. That is the miracle of letting go. It does not erase who we are, but reveals a more authentic self within. When we let go, we become like a mountain standing in the midst of a storm. The wind still blows, the rain still falls, the thunder still roars, but the mountain does not move. Not because it is rigid, but because it is vast. And our mind, when we let go, becomes vast in the same way. We begin to see that happiness does not come from holding on to more, but from clinging less. Peace does not come from controlling everything, but from accepting that everything is impermanent. Freedom does not come from escaping life, but from living fully within it without being bound. Letting go teaches us a profound paradox. When we stop trying to hold tightly to ourselves, we finally find ourselves. We no longer live as someone who must constantly defend, prove, and protect an image. We live as someone who can stand in the midst of life and still maintain inner stillness. We are no longer afraid of loss, because we understand that what truly matters is not what we possess, but how we are present with life. And in that presence, we discover a very different kind of well-being, not a noisy joy, but a deep calm, not a fleeting happiness, but a lasting sense of contentment. Letting go also helps us see life through more compassionate eyes. We no longer judge others so harshly, because we understand that everyone is struggling with their own fears and attachments. We no longer hold on to anger for long, because we see that anger only binds ourselves. We no longer resent the past, because we know that all suffering is part of the journey of growth. Little by little, our heart becomes softer, not weak, but strong enough to be compassionate. And when the heart softens, the world suddenly becomes more beautiful. We begin to notice the beauty in small things, the morning sunlight, the sound of rain falling, the smile of a stranger, the steady rhythm of breath in the chest. we realize that life has never lacked anything, only our mind was once too busy to notice. Letting go, ultimately, is a return to ourselves, not the ego shaped by society, but the deep essence that has always been there, still, open, free, and filled with love. How to let go without losing yourself is not just psychological advice, it is an invitation to live differently. It invites us to slow down, breathe more deeply, look more deeply, love more widely, and cling less. It invites us to step out of the fear of loss and into the space of inner freedom. It invites us to release what no longer serves our growth, making room for something more genuine and alive. And on this path, there is no final destination. Each day is a new lesson in letting go. Each challenge is an opportunity to grow. Each pain is a doorway into greater depth of the soul. You do not need to be perfect to let go. You only need enough courage to look honestly at yourself, enough humility to accept impermanence, and enough love to treat your own heart gently. Remember this: you will not lose yourself by letting go, you will find yourself more clearly. And if these reflections touch something deep within you, if you feel reminded of the peace already present inside you, please leave a comment below to share your thoughts. Every story, every reflection has value and may help someone else feel more understood on this path. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel so you can continue accompanying these journeys of deep contemplation, where together we learn how to live more mindfully, more lovingly, and more freely in the midst of an impermanent world. Because in the end, the journey of letting go is not about moving away from yourself, but about coming home to the place where your heart has always been at peace.